Good morning, everybody. This is Roger Thunder with the Ancient Soul Surfing Association. So today I thought we would talk about the topic of longboards and shortboards. I don't know if I've ever really did a video called longboards and shortboards, but I guess I might name this one that. And also I might talk about footwork. We'll see if we can work that in. But the reason that I decided to talk about this today was I was looking around YouTube at different videos about surfing, which I always do to try to keep up on things. And I saw this interesting video, and this is the name of it. Why good surfers secretly ride longboards. Why good surfers secretly ride longboards. Well, that led me to thinking about maybe there are some people out there that realize the importance of riding a longboard as opposed to a shortboard. So let's talk about that for a minute. But first, let's watch a few clips of this video that this guy made, and I think he makes a good point in the video. But I'm going to take it a step further, as I did in my comment on the video. So let's just jump right into it. We'll just check out some of the action here. Obviously, he's showing longboards right now because that's the purpose of his video. Lots of nose riding. Now, I noticed something right away that I might comment on here. This guy looks like he has a pretty good stance, pretty good upright stance. Okay, now this guy is more hunched. Now he tries to straighten up, but see, he kind of gets into this hunched over. You see that shoulder hunch, that rounded shoulder? That most likely is probably from riding shortboards, which I guess this guy does too. But when you ride shortboards, you tend to try to lower your center of gravity. See, here's a typical shortboard. He mixed that in so that you could see. But notice the guy is more hunched over as opposed to this, which is a longboard. And look at how easy it is to get into the waves and stay in the wave. Nice footwork. Now here we go again, the other guy. Notice he has a more hunched shoulder, more hunched shoulders. Sometimes he has good dexterity as far as walking the board and maneuvering the board and footwork, and threw in a little spinner there. But notice the posture between this guy here and the other guy. You can definitely see a bit of more hunched over motion, or hunched over posture. But the point this guy's trying to make on here, and look at how small these waves are. These waves are what, 2-3 feet? Yet they get into the wave earlier and are able to be a little bit more relaxed with their style and have a little bit more time. So let's pause this a minute. Now, I'm going to paraphrase the comment, or talk about the comment that I made on this person's video, because he asked for comments. First thing that I want to note here is, what is your purpose in going into the ocean? Isn't it to enjoy the water, enjoy Moana? And that's what I put on the comment. I put that, as I say in my book, The Way of the Wave, Surfing and Yoga, isn't the purpose of you going out surfing, it's not only to have fun and enjoy the water, but it's to become one. Become one. That's what yoga means, union. So in the long run, you're going to be more relaxed, okay, if you cop that attitude. Now, when you take off on a wave, like I said earlier, you can get into the wave a lot sooner, especially if they're the type of waves that roll on, okay. But regardless, if you're out where the swell forms and starts to break, you can actually start the ride from there and ride a long, long time all the way into shore. Why? Because you have a more stable platform. You have a platform that is more buoyant. All right, because there's more area there. It tends to stay above the water. So let's say you're on a 9'6" surfboard, and you weigh about what I weigh, like 180 pounds. You're 6'1". You got 3-4 feet to play around with as far as the length of what you are and the length of what the surfboard is. But the surfboard is more buoyant, it's more floatable, it's more stable of a platform. And like I said in my previous video, it's not that hard to just swivel the board around and get into a wave with little or no paddling. So right away, just the little or no paddling, all right, and the flotation and the ease of getting into the wave, what's that going to do for you? Well, that's going to put you in a more relaxed frame of mind, because you're not worried about making last minute takeoffs because your board's too short and that's the only way you can get into the wave. And you're not worried about all these fancy gymnastics that you might have to do or incorporate in your style of surfing. So you get into the wave easier, you're cruising in the wave, and you're relaxed. Well, what does that give you more time to do? Well, that gives you more time to not have to think. Now, when you meditate, the whole goal of meditation is not thinking, to clear your mind. In the martial arts, they call that mushin, mind like water. So when you're in this state of mind, you are able to not only tune in with all your senses, hearing, sight, touch, smell, all that stuff. You're not only able to do that more easily because you're relaxed. If you're constantly having to make movements, if you're constantly having to think about what you're going to do next and what your gymnastic flip up in the air and spinning your board around and all that good shit, if you constantly have to think about that, then you're not really having time to concentrate on just breathing, which is an important part of meditation and yoga. And this is in my book, The Way of the Wave. Let me just pop that up a second here while I'm talking. The Way of the Wave, Surfing and Yoga by yours truly. And I'll put a link to the Amazon, to where it's located on Amazon in the show notes. I talk a lot about breathing and awareness and using your senses for perception, like almost like an extrasensory perception, tuning into your surroundings, tuning into the rhythm the rhythm of the ocean. You got waves that come in rhythms. What are waves? They're energy. Basically, what waves are energy, and that energy is floating through the fluid, physical mass of the ocean and creating a swell, which then breaks when it hits closer to shore or on a reef or something. So you want to be in tune with the rhythm of the waves, the energy that is incumbent in the wave or is there in the water. You're feeling the energy. So when you look at things from a metaphysical point of view, everything is energy. If you delve into physics or basic physics, you realize that the structure of everything is nothing more than energy. So the wave is energy. All right. There is another rhythm of energy going through the wave. From a storm at sea, started at a storm at sea. There is the surfboard itself, although seemingly solid, is another form of energy. Just different frequencies of energy. Way slowed down energy, like a surfboard or a table or something like that. It's going to give the illusion that it's hard when it really isn't. So what does this all boil down to, people? You got all these, even your body's energy. Your body is nothing but energy. The ocean is energy. There's energy in the rhythm of the ocean. There's energy in the earth. There's energy in the sky, which is also a fluid mass. So what happens when you have this realization that your energy, your board's energy, the surf is energy, there's energy moving through the water? What happens? You become attuned. You become one with. So who's to say that when you walk up onto the nose of the board, or even stand on the board, or even angle the board or move the board around with your feet, who's to say that you're not really actually levitating? Now, I know that sounds far-fetched, but that's actually what you're doing, since everything is energy anyway. So when you get into this state of mind of yoga or union with the wave, you become one with everything that is around you. You become a oneness. So therefore, you're almost like Merlin the magician. You are able to manipulate energy to your liking, in a sense, okay, because you feel all these different energies and you can flow any way you want with the different energies. So let's think about this as we watch some more of this video. Just remember what I said. The wave is energy. See it moving in. It's a rhythm. It's a flow. You have more time on a longboard to actually, contemplate your surroundings, contemplate all the feelings that you're getting from your surroundings, contemplating the rhythm, contemplating the energy that is in the wave, contemplating your oneness with it. So yeah, okay, now see, the shortboard, is the guy have a lot of time? No, he's concentrating on gymnastics. He's concentrating on whipping the board around and destroying the wave, in my opinion. Now, see the difference? Now, this guy makes the point that longboarding will help you with your shortboarding. Well, of course it will, because then you're going to have a different sense feeling about what you want to do. Okay, now here's another comment that I made on this guy's video. The original purpose of surfing was to have reverence for the ancient Polynesians. That was their ritual. That was their reverence for the ocean. That was their way to attune to the ocean and become one with it. That was the original, and I don't want to say sport because it isn't a sport. It's a activity. It's a ritual. Ritual would be a much better word to put this into context. It's a ritual act that puts you in attunement or at one-ment with the wave. Here's another point that I made in my comment on this video, and that is, on a shortboard, you lend yourself to ego surfing. In other words, and I firmly believe that a lot of this stuff from the shortboard evolved from the invention of the skateboard. So what do you see in a skateboard park? When you go to a skateboard park and you see people that are fairly radical or know how to use that concrete environment, what do? They're doing all these different tricks. They're jumping the board back and forth on the wheels. They're walking on the wheels. They come up one side of like a pool, a concrete pool, and what do? They flip around in the air and they come back down. This is all gymnastics, people. This is all gymnastics. It has nothing at all to do with being at one with the ocean, with the water, with the wave. All right? Has nothing to do with that at all. So what does it have to do with? Well, a lot of it has to do with ego, what I call ego surfing. Now, what is ego surfing? Well, ego surfing is when your ego gets a charge, or yourself or your ego gets a charge out of sometimes displaying your expertise or your technique to other people. What are you doing? Oh, look at me. Look at me. I can go up and I can flip the board around. And I can land a certain way, and I can retain my balance, and then I can go back and do all kinds of fancy maneuvers. Look at me. Look at how good I am. That's ego surfing. Now, some guys will say, well, I don't do that to show off to others. I just do that for my own fun. Well, okay. That's a whole different concept than being at one with the ocean, being at one with the planet, being at oneness with your environment. What are the benefits? What are the benefits to being at one with your environment? You're more on top of it. You feel things better. You get gut feelings, you get sensations, you get messages and cues from everything that is surrounding you. Everything that is surrounding you, you're getting cues and directions from. You're at oneness with the ocean. You're at oneness with the breeze. You're at oneness with the natural rhythm. Now, what is this going to do for you? Well, it has extremely beneficial health benefits, all right? It has, anytime you are unifying with the source, okay, and let's make no mistake about it, the ocean, the waves, the palm trees, the sand, that's what I call an example of God or goddess, God, goddess, the twin energies of the universe. That's a perfect example of that energy. And it's a perfect opportunity, okay, for you to connect with that energy. Well, what does that do? Well, that increases circulation of chi or prana in your body. It increases your circulation. It increases your consciousness. Hell, you could become enlightened while riding on a wave. You could have an epiphany, and you could have a beautiful experience, especially if you're doing the breath work, the meditation. And this doesn't, you're not doing this stuff just on the ocean or on a surfboard. You're doing this before you enter into the ocean, before you get on the surfboard. So, if you make a practice of reverence, in other words, honoring the wave and the ocean, make no mistake about it, Moana, the sea, the ocean, is going to talk to you. It's going to send you messages. It's going to impart things to you. And it'll also create waves for you, because your consciousness is the ocean's consciousness, and the ocean's consciousness is yours. As within, so without. That's a Hermetic principle. Or as without, so within. So after I discovered, when I was initiated into Kriya Yoga in 1986, after I discovered meditation and yoga and the postures and the energy and all that stuff that goes along with it, I became a completely different surfer than I was before that. My whole attitude, my whole concept of surfing changed. And I was able to do what they call, quote unquote, miraculous things. Well, what do you mean by that? Some people might say. What do you mean create miraculous things? Well, miracles are nothing more than an exhibition of the power within us all, that we all have, that we are not aware of. That's another thing about yoga and surfing and meditation. It brings a new consciousness, a new frequency, a new raising of the frequency. So after that time when I was initiated, I would go out on my board. I was so into it that I actually painted the Om sign on my board in a circle, in the what they call the blue bindu, which is the circle that you see when you concentrate on your third eye in meditation with a star in the middle. I put that on my surfboard, and I got totally into the tradition of having reverence for the ocean, going out beyond the break, beyond where the waves were breaking, outside, sitting on my board, meditating, and saying certain mantras and doing certain breathing techniques, and visualizing and attuning myself to the ocean. Now, as far as miracles go, I could be sitting out there on a day that was, let's say, normal or not too great or whatever. And if I put myself in the right state of mind, guess what? Next thing I know, there's waves coming in. There's waves coming in. And where are they coming in from? Are they coming from within to without, or are they coming from without to within? That's the state of mind you got to get into. But all I know is that if I visualize something and I imagine something, all of a sudden it's there on the ocean. And this is a perfect place to do it because it's malleable, it's fluid, it's a fluid mass. So I would create waves for myself, and I would create perfect waves for myself, and I would also visualize less crowds, all right, less people in my way, and not to do the detriment of anybody, but just a visualization that this spot was going to be clear of people, clear of distractions, and now when you're in this state of mind, when you get proficient at yoga, you become a yogi. You become a yogi. This takes years, but you become a yogi, and uh, what do yogis do? Well, they have control over their environment, control over their bodies, control over everything. So, what do you think that's going to, and this is documented. You can easily search anywhere, online or anywhere, and you can find out what the benefits of being a yogi is. Okay, a master, a person that is in control of their situation and their environment. Now, this just applies to life too, people. This isn't just about being on a wave. Okay, this isn't just about being on a wave. Once you get off the wave and you're in that frame of mind, you could carry that with you into everyday life. You could surf the waves of life in the same manner that you surf the waves on the ocean. Attunement, being so aware that when a change comes up, you're able to flow with it instead of fight it. That's one of the benefits of this as well. It helps you in, let's say, turbulent waters, both in the ocean and in your life. But it helps you in the ocean because you could just sense when a cross wave's coming in, where the rip currents are, where, what kind of offshore or onshore wind you have, how that calculates into the riding of the wave. Everything is involved here, what we call gravity, momentum, wind, all the elements are involved here. So are you going to be a better surfer? Well, hell yes. Hell yes. Now, you get this way by being a longboarder. Now, can you transition to a shorter board once you get the principles in your mind of and the importance of what you're doing in your mind? Once you get all those things squared away, yeah, hell yeah, you could do anything you want. You can go out and ride a skateboard. My only wish is that these guys that are out there demolishing, there's a term, I'm going to go out and shred, man. I'm going to shred. That's kind of juvenile in a way, in my opinion. Now, I'm sure I'll get a lot of comments about that. But why are you going to go out and destroy a perfectly good wave when you could be in attunement with the wave and actually the wave remains intact in its natural form and you're slip sliding around underneath the white water and flowing with and cutting back gently, doing drop knee turns and smoothly riding with the wave, rather than go out there and demolishing the hell out of the wave, destroying it. Why? So you can do gymnastics? So I know I'm going to get a lot of comments about this. Oh, you're living in the past. No, I'm living in the way, way past. The ancient soul surfer and his reverence for the ocean. So I guess we could watch a little bit more of this. I guess we watched the whole thing. Okay, we'll leave it there then on the YouTube video. I guess I'll just leave this video the way it is. I think I've talked enough. Don't want to bore you to tears here. Check out my book, again, The Way of the Wave, on Amazon. I'll put the link in the show notes. A lot of information in there, a pack full of information about how to do all this stuff. And also, Ancient Soul Surfing Association. I'll leave a link to that in the show notes. If you want to learn more about what we do, and we got some great shirts. This is one of the logos here. We got another logo too. So you might want to look into that as well. So anyway, I guess I'll leave it there today. Excuse me. We'll leave it there today, and until next time, I'll just say aloha and good surfing, people.